Can you what?
Oh no, don't worry.
I don't,
We just need to get the footage.
What? Izzy? What do
I
you
was
want?
wondering if I could do like a little bit of this to you and then address the camera and then
Yes.
Hi.
Hi. What's your name? Come on.
What makes a man, Mr. Lebowski? Dude.
Masculinity. Well,
Masculinity means strength. It means bravery.
Masculinity is kind of how people describe what men have to be.
traditionally, a male's role in the human race was to provide and protect.
Digging and building.
Digging and building.
Yes,
And
digging
mining.
and building and mining.
Like walls. You know, because masculinity builds those walls. To hide behind them.
Like physical walls or emotional walls?
Both, technically.
We've kind of surpassed the need to show physical strength. It's not like we're savages, like fighting for wars.
First of 5 scheduled rounds, reaching the midway point. Again, on the button, out.
It's obviously heavily impacted my home life, you know, with my dad growing up in communist Hungary. You know, it's really, those gender roles were so important back then. He resents it, clearly, but at the same time, it shows in the ways that he expresses himself and the ways that he likes to provide but can't provide you with any safe space for sharing emotions.
Impacted me in ways of like me developing anxieties around my masculinity and the lack of security.
And the way that he blows up, you know? And I see that in a lot of people, a lot of young men too.
For guys, it probably definitely affects them differently, but for girls, we definitely see, you know, our friends get hurt by masculinity, and it's like not okay. You get like teenage boys and stuff just saying not nice things to you and your friends, using words, not good words.
It just results in a lot of self-loathing amongst women. I feel like women hate themselves for it and they hate other women for it. I mean, it puts a lot of pressure on women to behave in a certain way or fit into a box that makes them digestible by men, because men have been taught that this is how women are.
Oh my god, the way that like young kids get told like man up. Like, man up. Oh, I broke my arm. Man up. Like, come on. Telling a young guy that he can't feel certain emotions, damaging long term. So damaging long term. Because you wonder why even 20-year-olds nowadays are still repressing so many emotions because their parents were like, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that. Like, you cry, don't share emotion, don't show that. And then obviously that progresses with your older.
So, some people could argue that, you know, because girls have their own set of what they're meant to be, ideally. But I think girls are allowed to be a bit more expressive with their emotions than guys are. But then at the same time, when girls are told to be feminine, they're just like conforming to masculinity as well. Do you know what I mean?
The problems with femininity are a direct projection of issues with masculinity, because, you know, one can't exist without the other.
Girls are encouraged to be feminine and, you know, like, be sexy and whatever. And yeah, people talk about it as woke and stuff, but in some ways you're also just like contributing to toxic masculinity.
What man? Which man? Who's the man? When's a man a man? What makes a man a man? Am I a man? Yes, technically I am.
What makes someone manly, to me at least, is someone who can be accountable, someone who can show that strength in moments where it's really needed.
It could be the most femme woman or man, or just the most femme being, and then one day just be like, I'm gonna embrace my inner masculinity.
I am no man.
And then for that day, you're manly.
And we kind of need to stop calling people manly and just start seeing them as people, you know?
Is that what you've got to say?
Wait. No, because then I'm just going up and describing my perfect man.
Okay,
Relevant?
Yeah.
Or present? Relevant.
Relevant.
No, I don't think they should be relevant. They're definitely present, but they're not
Yeah.
relevant.
I feel like gender itself is disintegrating. I think that as we've started to accept the idea that gender is a spectrum and sex is different, you know, like there is the sex anatomically that we have, but if we can look at the difference between what gender is and what sex is, gender roles, they're already so unattainable that I think people are going to be relieved to see them go.
I think pushing people in either direction of either being super non-conformative or super conformative is both toxic. I think letting people just decide for themselves or at least learn to decide for themselves and not be pressured by, societal standards is really important.
All day long, baby, all day long.